Hi guys, welcome to another Crafting Together with All Brands video blog, and this time it's Winter Wonderland. I just wanted to let you know that partway through there is a gap, so the only thing you're going to be missing is a little bit of painting, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. So let's get straight in. I'm using a box frame. I've taken out the back and the front, and left the glass, take the glass bit out, and I'm leaving that in the middle. I'm going to coat this with a picture. It could be any Winter Wonderland picture you want. I'm just going to stick that on there. And there is a gap at the side, which we are going to cover, so don't worry about that. I'm going to put that back into place. Put all of the little prongs down. That'll hold the paper in, so you don't need to glue it. So on the side here, I am just going to add some paint onto there. Vintage blue in Maya's Memories Antique Paint. Just going to dab that on a little bit around where the sky is, just to kind of cover it over slightly. It's not going to be seen that much, so you don't have to be too precious about it. And once that's done, it takes no time at all to dry. So I'm just going to keep going down there. And then as you can see on the side of the picture, there's a picture, it's a Christmas tree. So I'm going to use the antique paint again in Maya's Memories, and this is eucalyptus. It's a really nice shade of green. This it can go for more of a winter colour, but I do think that if you were to use some brighter shades with it, you would be able to use it as a spring or a summer kind of colour. Now, I forgot to mix it up, hence why I've had to put the lid back on and redo it. So, just doing the same again. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom because you're not going to see any of that at the bottom once it's done. And just make sure you got rid of that white line. Really don't even need to worry about the bottom corner, but there you go. I'm not worried about the bottom line at all because that's going to be covered. So here we have some resin and casting compound pieces that I've already done. The tree is resin, the house buildings is casting compound, and then if you see the six little gingerbread men and women, they are made with 3D elastic paste, hence why they are movable. That could play a part later, but we'll see. So all of these pieces need to be individually painted. The buildings, I'm going to use a mixture of Maya's Memories paint, antique paint, sorry, in Black Cloud, and the antique white or ivory, whichever you prefer. So you're going to see me putting the paint in here, and then it's going to stop, and that's obviously where the gap is. Problems with technology, it just kind of went kaput. I'm not playing no more. I don't want to play. We're done. So I'm just putting the black cloud in here. Just put enough in there just to cover it. Always make sure to wipe things up. Do not do anything to contaminate your colours, because that is the last thing you want to do. So we're going to have a quick jump, and forward in time, everything's painted. So as you can see there, that's a mixture of the antique paint in Black Cloud and the antique white in the hybrid paint. So I've done all the fronts of them, just needed to do the tops and the sides. The Christmas tree is done in a like a velour sort of ultra matte finish in the green. The gingerbread men have been painted in a, let me think, which one was that? Sandalwood is what that one is. I had to think about that for a minute. Painted in a lovely sandalwood colour, and I've kind of left it a bit patchy because whenever you cook gingerbread men, they're never uniform colour. So here I've just got some enamel dots that we're going to use on the Christmas tree. Kind of a Christmas tree without baubles. So I always squeeze a little bit out before I start with the enamel dots, only because sometimes you can get a little tiny clog in them, so you squeeze a little bit harder and it literally goes everywhere. So as you can see, I'm just using a pin there just to get that out, and it's not coming out, so I'm assuming that there's a blockage further into the pipe, and there we go. So that's big blockage there. So I'm just going to use this one and put little dots here and there, give it more of a festive feel. And sometimes with those bottles you can get them where you've got to really squeeze them, so that's why I test them beforehand. Just stops anything from, exploding out. We don't want that all over our piece, do we? So we've used I think there's the red, blue, yellow, champagne glitter, and I think it's a platinum glitter colour, and just adding them around just like little baubles. Now the champagne one and the silver ones, they really do know how to come out of the bottle, hence why it's flying through there. And the champagne ones, it just kind of gives it more of it's a really warm sort of luxurious colour, that one. And we all have something on our tree that we love more than the rest, and I think that would be the thing I would love more. And I'm going to go in with the midnight blue again, that's in the glitter. And these are dry quite quickly, but because they're enamel dots, they give it an additional 3D feel to it, because you will obviously have that additional height. I used the white because I think it needed something just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. So again, it's a two-handed job. So this part is quite fun, but the fun part's still to come, and that's when you put everything together and you get that finish. It's just I love it when when everything's all there and it's all done. It's brilliant. I love it. So we're going to move over to the gingerbread man now. So we've got one woman and five guys. So we've got one who has a bobble hat, we've got one who's got a Santa hat, and then we've got the woman who has her little dress. So this is Maya's Memories antique paint in ruby. The red on here is just, it's it's like Christmas in a tin or tub, whichever. You know, when you see a red that invokes everything that you think about for Christmas, that's that one. So we've got her little dress now. Don't paint over her feet because she needs to walk. Just watch out that you don't get it everywhere else. And even though these are being painted and they are made out of the elastic paste, it will still move. It's not like the paint that's going to make it dry hard. So you will still have the movement in there as well. And the great thing about these is you can use the elastic paste for something like, if you wanted to add things onto a bottle, or a piece of furniture, or just anything that's not necessarily flat. That it it's great for all sorts. So I decided I did try and put like the little buttons and stuff on. It just didn't work enough for me. I wanted something more, so I thought, let's use the enamel dots. So we end up using the enamel dots on the gingerbread men for their buttons, the gummy drops, enamel dots. I had to think before I was saying that then because it may have come out a little bit wrong. So using those for the gummy drop buttons, and there we go, that's on those. And then I thought, ooh, let's use the white on the hat. So I'm using that, kind of like doing it like you would icing a cake. So you just kind of do like little splodges, if you like, or little bumps and ribbons. Works perfectly. So that's the bobble hat and the Santa hat done. And I'm then going to bring over the Myers Memories Ivory in the hybrid paint. And I'm going to use my ball tool. I think that it's better to get like the little drops for little splodges for the eyes, because you don't have to get like a proper splotch. You can just do a proper dot, and you've got eyes then on them. Just a little bit here and there. And then obviously with gingerbread men, they've got the little ribbon at the bottom of their feet and their hands. So I tried that paintbrush and it wasn't the right sort of thing. So I got the tiniest paintbrush I could find. And then it actually worked so that you could see where the lines were. Just wanted to make sure I didn't have too much paint on my brush. I would rather have too little and need to go over it again than have too much and it splodge everywhere and not be able to wipe it off. So it's like that old adage, isn't it? Prefer to ask for forgiveness than permission. But yeah, that works quite well with just a little tiny bit of paint on your brush, and that there was little parts of it there that had been squashed a little bit, so you couldn't really make out where they were. Hence why I was using it like a dry brushing over that area. So you'll understand the significance of the gingerbread man soon. All will be revealed. So finish with that one. Always make sure you put your lids back on your paints, because if you don't, they'll dry, go thick, and then it's horrible to use. And then trying to water them back into place, it's just not going to get the same. So it's just easier to put the lid back on. So we forgot about Mrs. Gingerbread Man. We forgot about her and her eyes and her little wobbly hat outlines, because the women have it too. They have the wobbly lines at the hand. So I just did a little. Oh, yeah, they had the little white streak at the top as well. It was like a little wiggle. So that was just added on. Oh yeah, there we go. She can see. She can see what she's doing now. So yeah, the little wiggly lines on the head. It was like some sort of centre parting from the 80s kind of throwback. So let's clear up some space here. Let's get these a bit dried. They're looking a bit plain and boring. Don't want our buildings looking boring, do we? And remember that the enamel dots dry very quickly, and you don't want to bubble anything around them because you'll just lose the effect. There's a good thing with casting compound as well because it's quite a cold feel to it. It does take a while to heat up, so you can just go the way it is. So I'm going to use a Pretty Gets Gritty Crackle stamp. I'm going to use the VersaFine in Onyx Black. So I am going to use a stamping platform for this. I don't normally, because of the type of stamp it is, but because of how I'm going to use it on here, I do want it quite. I do want it to cover. Don't press it too hard because if you do, your casting compound will break. As you can see there, I missed a bit in the middle, so I do come back to that because I do kind of look at it and think, nope, I want it more. So there we go, come back and do it a bit more. And instead of giving it like a brick finish, it kind of makes it look like a stone finish because I mean, I did think about doing some like a brick finish onto it, and I was thinking, my God, it's going to take forever to do that. And the last thing you want to see is me drawing little tiny bricks on a building. So I'm just going to move that out of the way so that it can dry off a little bit. And same with the gingerbread man. And then we're going to bring our frame back into play. So it is a box frame, so you've got that depth to it. So we're going to put the little buildings at the front left hand side. And I've got some just like little torn up pieces of grey board, just to kind of give it dimension. We are going to be using heavy gel medium. The one I've got is the Amsterdam. So I'll put blobs on the back of this because we want this to be quite stuck down, hence why I'm using the grey board and the gel medium to give it that dimension. I don't mind so much about where I put the grey board for this one because this one's going to be right at the back. So just obviously make sure that there's enough on there that it's going to stick. Okay, so we've got one in place. Now, this next one, I wanted to give it more dimension than it had. So with that, I would have only had to put the grey board on one side and have it leaning on the building on the other side. I wanted it to be higher up. So okay, let's get this grey board ready. I'm going to use, that's just a strong PVA glue that I'm using there. So there's 4 pieces on there, so I'm using a strong PVA because it's a quicker drying than the gel medium. And once it's on there, it's on there. I don't have to fight with it all the time. The thing with gel medium is, gel medium's great, but it takes so much longer to dry than just your average PVA glue. So what's happening now is I'm going to add some more grey board. And you kind of, when you're trying to build up the dimensions, it's trial and error. Unless you've got specific measurements, which I never work to measurements, as most of you will know. You know, even when I'm making a card, I don't measure things. I just, yeah, that'll do. Looks about right. That's fine. So for me, it is a case of just trial and error, see if it works. If it doesn't work, try again. If it works, woohoo! So I'm looking at how I'm doing it, and I was thinking, let me try and see if I've got any scrap MDF or anything like that. And I did find some in one of my boxes, so I'm gonna check to see what it's like there. I think I need to have, if I've got that left on there, maybe I'll need just a little bit extra. That's what like little tiny pieces for. Just a little bit extra. Just put that on in place. I'm going to do the same again with another 4. And these will be the perfect stands to hold that piece in place. And then once it's on there, as you can see, it works quite well. So I'm just going to put some gel glue on one side and on the other. And it could go on there to be held in place. Now that one, I want that one further forward. So I will be putting brackets or braces or whatever you want to call them in on both sides. It's just quite a good way of doing it, to be honest, is using little pieces of wood. When you're using grey board, it can fall apart, so it's not exactly perfect. So we've got some little MDF pieces there, again, like just out of my little scrap box. And we've got 2 other pieces there, just to keep that up there, and just holds it in place, keeps it on a good level, and you can just see a little bit more dimension there. So that works quite well. So I'm just going to stick all of them pieces together. And I have kept some of that grey paint just in case I needed to do any touch-ups on there. just going to paint those. Even though they're going to be behind the building, you're still going to be able to see some of them through the windows. So I've just given them a quick coat of paint. I'm just covering the sides as well, just in case they can be seen, because you don't want to lose the effect or the the work that you've done because you've missed one little side piece. So now I'm just going to give that a little blast, just to get it dry enough so you can pop it in place and put the building on there. It's not going to dry the glue, so you've got nothing to worry about there. So I'm going to put some of the gel medium on the back. I just set that on there. As you can see, it blends in quite well because the colour, you don't have the crackle effect, but you don't really need it because it's only through a window you're going to see it. I'm just checking that out to see whether or not where I want the smaller piece. And just pop that on. Just be mindful of where things are. You know, we're gonna. I did think about putting this the Christmas tree on the inside, but I thought no, it's gonna lose too much of the tree and how things look. So what the plan is on here, that I'm gonna have the tree on the outside of the frame, and then we're gonna have the gingerbread family. They will be putting the star onto the Christmas tree. Oh, I wanted to put some snow on the tree first because I thought once the gingerbread men go on, you don't want to have like loads of snow everywhere. And for this, I'm just using a normal PVA glue. I used some fake snow on there. So what I did with the gingerbread men was put the gingerbread men across the top of the frame and had them hanging down to put the star on the top of the tree. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.